everybody. Well, fall is upon us and I have got a jungle around here. Everything's just growing naturally and it's a mess. But I left it that way because I knew I wasn't going to do anything with this yard until fall. I've just got burned in the past sowing grass in the springtime. Comes up, looks great, and then July and August hits and it dries up and you got to redo it again. So I've got to get it slicked up, and hopefully here in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we'll put some seed down. We can grow a decent root base over the winter, and we'll have some grass that'll stick with us. Now, if you've not been here before, I've got a MX 5400 Kubota tractor, and I've got box blade, land plane. Obviously, it's got a front end loader, and then I've got a Yanmar excavator. Well, that Yanmar comes in handy moving dirt, but that tractor, you can move dirt with it, but that ain't what it's intended for. So it's a good dress-up machine, carry a little bit here and there. I've got quite a bit of dirt to move up here at the house, so I'd like to tell you I own that, but I don't. I rented it for a month. I need to move some dirt, need to move quite a bit of it, and I need something that'll do it quick. So I've rented this machine for a month. I actually sort of looked into buying one of these machines, so I thought this would be an excellent time to try one out, and we'll see how we like it. Got to try the new toy out when you get one. So I've never ran a Takeuchi before. If you want to talk about quick, that sucker is quick and the controls are quick as well, so it'll take a little getting used to. But when I built this house, I had a guy come in here with GPS on his dozer, and he cut me a level pad. My pad was probably 200 foot deep, and over there at the edge of the pool, all the way over to the back side of that pole barn. So when I built my house and I built the pole barn, I elevated it so I could get fall away from it. But I didn't want a great deal of fall. I want enough to get the water away, but I wanted a decent front yard and not have much of a slope. But what I've got to do is come in here, first thing is where this comes out here level and starts to fall, I'm going to start back here at the house and I'm going to cut this little crown out so we can get a gentle fall, and then we'll bring this topsoil back in here, cover it up. That's first on the agenda. By the looks of it, I've lost my seat, but hey, you never learn till you do, so we'll see what kind of grade man that boy is. Now I went ahead and cut Brantley a starter strip here, that way he'll know the grade that we want to be on. And so we're gonna let him test his hand here at cutting grade and keeping everything on plane. But he's gonna learn how important it is on keeping them tracks setting level if you want cut level. So I've always get me a first run made, and then I'll reference off of what I just cut. So we'll let him run it here a few minutes and see what kind of job he can do. Well, Brantley, you didn't do too bad. We got this thing for a month, so the time it leaves here, he ought to be a pro. Well, I'm making decent progress. I've got the grade on the front yard halfway roughed in. I've got to go back and put topsoil over everything, but I've got a pile of topsoil. It's probably been laying there for 2 years, so I've got that to cover that up with. And then where I've cut that grade out here in front, I've got another pile. But right now I've got to work on getting this fill dirt, red dirt that I've cut these edges down. I've just piled it up here and got some of that. It's got some slate in it, so I've got to get that stuff hauled off the hill so we can finish this cut. Then we can start shifting some of this topsoil around, make this place look a little better. Well, I'll tell you, I've never run one of these Takeuchi machines, but this is a TL8. But for its size, I've not run them all, but I think that's probably got to be one of the strongest, quickest little skid steers I've ever been on, but I'm impressed with it so far. Works pretty good to pull that cord up in the cab, that way you don't have to get out. But I will tell you, it will slide out of there and tear your remote off the end. Ask me how I know. Well, looks like I've been demoted to tractor driver. Hey, he's got to learn sometime. I started out this morning on the end of the pole barn down here. I'd never dressed this up, so I've got it roughed in. And now I'm moving over here to my parking area. And when we cut this level, we had machines and stuff going around the house back here in the back, so we'd rudded it out so it gotten sort of low. So water stands in here in ponds. So I'm basically just cutting this crown off, but getting it from the back side of that shed to where any water that hits back here, it'll run and run off a hill, and we don't have a muddy spot. So let's cut this crown out, then we'll move on to something else. Well, I'm glad to see that pile of dirt gone. I wished I would have had just a little more of it. But I think I got enough. Time I get in here and cut everything up and move it around, I'll have enough to get it covered pretty well. But I've got the grade pretty close to where I want it. Got just a gradual fall away from the house. It leveled up across the front pretty good. So I'm gonna take the tiller on the tractor. Some of the topsoil I spread down there on the bottom was clotted. So I'm gonna till it up, and then I may even run it over this just to break it up. And I'm gonna take that yard box on the tractor, and we'll go in here and make sure we got all of our low spots filled, drag it around. Let's try to make it look like something. Well, that tiller cuts it up nice. That way I can take the tractor and yard box and I can drag this down, and any little low spots I can fill them in. I can move this dirt around, but we could plant lettuce in that. But Brantley and I are, he's on a work co-op day from school today, so don't tell his teachers. But I've got two downspouts on the front of the house, so I am going to go ahead and trench those out off the hill. I'll do the same over there. And then when we was getting everything framed up, I brought conduit out of the house, so it comes out, runs next to the porch. But I've got a roll of underground 12-2 wire that I'm going to run from here down to the pond in case we want to hook an aerator up or a fountain or have a light or whatever it may be. So Brantley's gonna be the ditch witch man, run us a trench down there. And I'm gonna start digging us some trenches for these gutter downspouts. But let the fun begin. Well, if you've been with me since the beginning, when I put this water line in, it was a pain in the rear. Just a lot of slate rock down here. So Brantley's battling that with this ditch witch, but he's getting it down in there 6-8 inches. So that ought to be sufficient. I don't think we're going to be plowing any gardens here anytime soon. So anyway, he'll dig that down to the pond. I'm going to cover my first ditch up, and we'll go over and stick that other one in. Now, if you're wondering why I waited to put my gutter downspouts in till after I pretty much had everything tilled up and ready to finish, the reason I didn't do it is I had a lot of cutting out here to do to shape this front yard, so I wanted to make sure that I had it cut the way I wanted it. That way I didn't have to worry about digging into one of my downspout drains, so that's the reason I waited. But I got it backfilled there last night, then this morning I run the tiller over it, blend it back in, run that tractor over it and pack the ditches in, so hopefully it don't settle, but at least they're in. I'll tell you, this dump trailer tractor combination has come in pretty handy. I put some pretty good loads in that trailer and it dumps them out no problem. I did a little short the other day though, and the guy said, left me a comment and said, heck, you ought to just plumb that into remotes on your tractor. I never thought about doing that, but I may check into that. Be pretty handy. That way you just have your control in the cab. Who knows, I may try that. But we're getting it slowly but surely. We're about to run out of topsoil, but hauling topsoil around here this side of the garage, and I've still got to pour a little more concrete. I originally wasn't going to pour any here, but I'm going to pour one more slab coming out of the door, and then I'll gravel this, and then I'm going to bring grass in here. But I'm going to put a stone edge out here to divide the gravel from the grass. Take you around the front of the garage and show you what it's going to look like. Now here's the stone I'm talking about for an edge. I laid this last night, but I wanted a good defining edge here between the stone and the grass. And so I've got to come in here and backfill up to the top of that for my grass, and then when I bring my gravel in here, I'll bring it, and I've got that on about a 5-inch fall over that run. And then I'm going to do it over here off the end of the garage as well. And I'll tell you, in time, I may end up taking it on down the driveway. I like the way that looks. Some may say, well, that'd be expensive. Well, I'm liking the looks of gravel a whole lot better, until I got a quote for concrete. Now, from the road, which is down there, comes up, and then I had them bid in between the house and the shed over here, back to the back there. I had them quote that on pouring concrete, and I won't tell you what it is. I'm going to ask you to guess on how much you think the bid was to pour this concrete. Now, it was about 880 feet from the road, in which I've got my driveway built at 12 feet, in which up here you're looking, I don't know, it's 100 feet in between them, and then I've got a 40-foot tile in down at the road, so you've got about 35 foot wide that'll wire back into the 12-foot driveway. But put your guesses down in the comments, and we'll see who gets closest. But I'll give you a hint. It ain't cheap, but these gravel are looking great. Well, that doesn't look horrible for a little free-handed stacking. I'll now bring some dirt in here. I'm backfilling up against the building. It settled back when I built it and backfilled it the first time. So I'm gonna put a little dirt in here and we'll bring it up level the top of this stone all the way down. And then we'll be ready for gravel in here. Bring it up within an inch or so of the top of it. I'll tie everything together. Try to have us a little prettier edge. Here is the reason I'm wanting an edge though, is when I built this road, I built it 12 feet, in which it got a little wider here. But I've got gravel all the way to right here, in which if I'd stayed on top of it and sprayed it, I could have kept that grass out of it. But I hate when that grass creeps in which I've been busy. I've let it get away from me, but I'll have to spray it and get that killed out. But this will give us a more definite edge, at least up here at the house. I've got to bring this little turn around here and I'll bring it down here square for the time being. And we'll worry about the rest of it on another day. Well, this video's run a little bit long, so I will cut it off here and we'll continue it with a part 2. But if you will, leave a guess down in the comments on how much the bid for that concrete was that I received. And then in part 2, I'll tell you how much it was. But if you watch this one, I appreciate it. And we'll see you later.